I'm Daniel Dickison. My pronouns are he, him. So I grew up in Japan, in Tokyo, actually. Yeah, it's interesting. So I went to international schools growing up. So most of it was taught in English, but all my friends were either half Japanese or they were, Americans living in Japan or, from everywhere in the world. So it was a pretty unique experience, I think. Yeah, I think, for sure, I think it's made me value diversity just in general. And it's really stark, like in Japan especially, just because there's not a lot of diversity, outside of those little small international communities. So it was really, it was almost like a bubble of diversity in Japan. So I think it just made me value the fact that diversity is good and makes good things come about. Like cell phones, I was in middle school in the late 90s and we all had cell phones, it was crazy and we were texting all the time. But it was, keypad.
T9.
Yeah, T9 texting, yeah. But yeah, that was everyone had cell phones already in the 90s. So I feel in some sense it was a strangely advanced world for technology. In other ways, I think it's basically the same as anywhere else. But yeah, my dad was always into techie things. So we had a Mac growing up, back when, I don't know, they were big boxy beige boxes.
Yeah, before the color ones?
Before the color ones, yeah. So that was really, it was me and my brother just messing around on the computer trying to break things constantly was how I got into tech, really. So it was pretty early. There was a thing on early Macs called HyperCard, which was this, it's almost like the web before the web existed, but it was just you would make these stacks, they call them stacks, on your computer, which was and you could do anything with them. It was slideshows, you could put little database things in there, you can even you could drag and drop buttons and drag and drop text fields and have them do stuff. And the way it worked was you could flip each card in the Slack over and you could write code to make it do other more complicated things. And I think I don't know, this was probably probably mid-90s or something. Me and my brother just started messing around in games. We wanted to make games. So we started making really simple games using HyperCard. Yeah, I think that's how I got into it. Yeah, I think so. I think it's like tinkering, If you like tinkering, you want to know how things work. Software is great because, for the most part, you can literally pull things apart and see how it works. And you don't have to have a garage to do it if you want to, figure out how an engine works. Or if you've got a laptop and you got a web browser and you can find sites that you think are cool, you can literally just look at the code and see how they did it. Which I think is super powerful, but yeah, it's like a tinkerer's dream, Let's see. So me and my brother kind of got into programming a little bit, even before high school. And then in high school, I took AP computer science. So I actually learned some proper ways to do things then. And we had those what are they called? TI-83, those graphing calculators. Yeah. So, me and fellow nerds, we would, you could program them to do little things. So I remember messing around with that. Again, pretty much just making games. That was, because it's fun. That's what you do. So yeah, there was AP computer science in high school, got me kind of more into that. And then for college, I went to Carnegie Mellon University, which has a big computer science program. But I didn't actually major in computer science. But I actually did cognitive science. But having the computer science world there, I ended up taking quite a lot of computer science classes and doing other extracurricular things. I was doing all sorts of stuff. I was making websites and making themes for desktops. When you could make weird color schemes and things like that. I was teamed up with a TA who wanted to build a game, and we kind of never got released, never got done with that. But we were building like a top-down driving game. It would have been pretty fun if we had actually finished it. I play music also, and there was like Carnegie Mellon had some music technology classes that were also pretty fascinating. There was a professor who was a trumpeter, but a computer science professor, and we did stuff like building a system that would look up jazz lead sheets based on like a little melody that you played. Also a thing that never got released, but would have been awesome if we had actually finished it. Yeah, I think that's kind of when I got in. Right. Yeah, I think, like motivation-wise, like I always think of programming as it's a tool, It's a tool for a goal, and if your goal is to make music software, you have this tool to like help you do that. Or if you want to build a game, you have this tool to do that. So yeah, I think for me, coding was always about being able to realize something that you can, that you want to use yourself. Like really, that's like the greatest feeling when you build some software and you're like, okay, I'm going to use this. Yeah, and then I think I've been kind of lucky in my like career in terms of I've been right out of school. I was working at the university for a while, and that's just a diverse setting just by nature of academia. After that, I was working for a company that made math textbooks and tutoring software. That was also based in Pittsburgh, and that was also kind of an offshoot of the university. So, and then after that, I've been working at Bandcamp for like almost 10 years now, and great place to work. And I think, the people that run the company have been cognizant of the need for diversity pretty early on. I mean, it started off, much like when it was like 10 people, largely white and male, but I think the powers that be kind of realized that diversity in hiring is really important. You kind of got to make a conscious effort to do it. So yeah, I think they've been doing a pretty good job, and it's nice to be in that kind of workplace where those values are like frontmost, and people actually go out of their way to actually make it happen. Yeah, so personally, I've just been lucky to be in kind of like an environment where I haven't had to deal with too much of the lack of diversity that the rest of the industry tends to suffer from. So actually, through a coworker, Ava, she started maybe 2 years ago, something like that, and she had started a label from, I hope I don't get the story wrong, but she had started a label in New York with a friend who I guess is friends with the founder, Alex.
Shout out to Alex.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. And so, she was kind of, I think she sent a link to you guys were, recruiting mentors at the time. And she said, it's like a great program, obviously a lot of programmers at the company. So I'm like, oh, yeah, this actually sounds, like a really good cause. So yeah, that's how I heard about it. Yeah, I mean, it's great. So I've been working with my mentee, whose name's also Daniel. I think you guys are going to meet in a couple days, right? Yep. Yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, we get along really well. And Daniel's pretty inspirational. He's, from what I gather, he got a college degree after getting out, and he's been just building all these skills because he wants to, have a career. And I think he's going to be going to school for marketing and data science or data analysis, something like that. So it's actually been really fun working one-on-one with him specifically because, our curriculum's sort of mostly about web development is like the core of it. But knowing that he wants to get into the data analysis stuff, which I just happen to have done, quite a bit of in my past. We're kind of trying to tailor the curriculum to kind of get into some of that data analysis topics, writing some SQL and maybe doing some stats things. So it's been fun being able to work, just like directly with him to kind of tailor, basically everything, whatever he wants to learn, we were able to make that happen really. So yeah. I mean, it just seems, you'll talk to him, so I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but it just seems like a lot of things to keep track of, I mean, trying to get an education while you work to have money. I mean, that alone is like hard, even without all the extra challenges that go with it. And I know he's also been working with youth in his neighborhood and things like that. His passion project, he wants to set up a website that's going to be resources for, the folks in his neighborhood that might not be able to find resources on their own. So, I think it's just time. It's hard to have enough time for all the things. Oh, yeah. It's almost like I didn't, I wasn't expecting to receive it, but I received, just kind of inspiration and just it just makes you want to keep doing the things we're doing. Thing I want to bring is obviously the skills I've learned and the knowledge I've gathered over the years doing coding, but also just being able to be a sounding board. If he's got ideas about a website he wants to build, or if he's got concerns about managing the things he wants to accomplish, just being there. It's actually honestly it's almost just like hanging out with a friend. So it's been it's been great actually. Yeah, would love to meet him in person at some point eventually. I'm sure it'll happen, just a matter of time. Yeah, so it wasn't like I was I didn't make I wasn't consciously looking for a program at the time, and I think it's just sort of just being attuned to the news and the world and how and again, I'm not an expert in this, so I don't want to talk like I know what I'm talking about, but just with mass incarceration being such a problem in this country, and obviously obvious struggles for formerly incarcerated people, seems like a big problem. And then the fact that Emergent Works is helping the formerly incarcerated folks in a particular way, gaining skills for job, for work in the future. It just seemed like something that was important in general, and just important to me as in terms of personal beliefs, but also something I could actually contribute something significant to. So that was, so when I heard about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this totally just clicks. I need to apply to this thing. Yeah, I mean, and again, I've been fortunate enough not to be directly involved. So, I don't know if I'm, I mean, I think it's, there's so many, huh? Yeah. Obviously, violence is, the people that are supposed to be protecting the law is obviously an issue that's huge. And also, I think, just the numbers of incarcerations and, the bias in sentencing. Yeah, I don't know. It's all these things that are clear, and you just hear about it constantly, and then so little seems to change. It's kind of just frustrating to see. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a shame. There's no reason. Yeah, Daniel's doing great, and he's it just seems like such a waste of time. That he had to lose so much of his life. When again, I didn't know him, in the past, but obviously knowing him now, if he had more time doing what he's doing now, that's just better for him, obviously, but for everybody else too, So, yeah. I mean, I think if we are able to have more equity in training and the teaching of skills, it could be, there's a possibility for it to be a good agent in bringing more equity to the world. I think there's a lot of work that has to be done to get there, which, obviously Emergent Works is doing. You just need a lot more of it, I think. Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say, it's a program that makes a lot of sense. I think it'd be great if maybe, Emergent Works could work directly with other companies in their hiring practices, or, companies want to have mentoring, programs in-house too. That seems like a, you guys, and we're gaining a lot of experience with mentoring and teaching skills. it'd be great to put that to use and have other folks be able to utilize that also. That's a good one. Just get into it more. Just do more. Yeah, that's all it'd be. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I would encourage all my colleagues and folks that are in the industry to do it also. Oh, I mean, it's like a no-brainer, right? It's like, well, I mean, there are all these people that are, I mean, underutilized in some sense, right? Like, if only they could learn, just a few of these little skills, like they would be great contributors to whatever, companies or society, what have you. So, yeah, in some sense, it's just a huge inefficiency that all these inequalities exist. I'm biased, but I think they're super related, like it's almost like, especially if you're a producer and you're programming beats, whatever, using a DAW, you're programming, it's maybe you're not coding a database, but ultimately the skills are really similar, I think. So learn to play an instrument, it just takes practice, and learning how to practice is like a skill that also applies to, whether it's programming or music or I guess just about anything else. But yeah, I feel like they're actually pretty intertwined. Oh man, that's a long time. I'm just gonna keep trucking. Hopefully get back to making music. It's been a hiatus, but yeah, I'll hopefully keep coding and teaching other people to code because it's great. Yeah, open your eyes. Just look around. Look outside just the tech industry. It's all transparent. I'm Daniel. I'm a former mentor and a proud member of the Emergent Works family, and I believe excellence in code can come from anyone.